And everybody make sure you signed in if you haven't already. Help yourself to coffee, tea, donuts, bagels, whatever your choice. I'd like to call this meeting to order, and we do have a quorum today. First item that I would like to throw in quickly is I want to thank Barb Kroll for her suggestion of starting a suggestion box. The little white box that we have up at the monitor station that we used for updating your membership, we're going to be using that for a suggestion box. And I'm kind of jumping ahead here just to mention that we are working on processes for the Kiln team, and we'll hit on that a little more as we go forward. But remember, we've got that suggestion box, and we are looking for your ideas to help resolve issues that we have in the club. We really appreciate your input. Okay, first off, we did not have a meeting in February, but we do need to approve the January minutes. Do I hear a motion for approval?
I motion to approve the minutes. Can I second it?
Thank you. Okay, then we'll start off with Barb and the treasurer report.
Good morning. So I've been tasked with not only doing the day-to-day finances, but also to kind of bring you up to date and as best I can assure you that the club's not going broke. So I'm going to do my darndest to do that today. So I'm not going to go through the full P&L. It is posted. I post the diagram from QuickBooks to kind of give you a month-to-day snapshot for those of you who don't know how to read financials. But the most important thing that we as members need to be aware of is our balance sheet. How much money do we have in the bank? So we have a total, as of February, at the end of... I'm sorry, I was a preacher, so, and I'm a swim coach, so. Okay, so as of the end of February, we have $94,925.44 in total for the Clay Club. We have, we ended the month with $12,029.96 in checking account. Obviously, it's higher than that right now. We have $44,042.17 in equipment reserves. I will back up and tell you what all this is and how we use this money. And then we have in the operating savings, we have $27,502.89. Now, based on our 501c7 status, we are allowed to retain at year end 35% of member contribution, which is dues running through the club. So if this year right now, as of today, we're at $11,240 in total membership, that includes lockers. At the end of the year, we would be allowed to retain just shy of $4,000 of that money and move it across into equipment reserves. We are allowed, we have $44,000 plus in equipment reserves. We are allowed to maintain 45% of our bottom line inventory, and as of yesterday, our inventory is at $91,000. But we need to adjust the inventory because it does not include the replacement value of a kiln. It has the depreciated value because that's how the rec center wants it. So if we push it, we're already over the 45% right now. So what we want to do is we want to be a healthy club, and for you to be at peace about whether the club has funds or not, is to maintain a fully funded equipment reserve. So you never have to worry about, oops, we have a kiln and we don't have enough money. We have plenty of money in equipment reserve. So the money that comes in the checking account, the board makes a decision how much is going to be for social, what percentage, so you can have fun and play because we're a social club, and maybe some for education, and then what do we have to shortfall if we buy a kiln this year? We need to think about putting $5,200 or whatever it's going to cost to replace a kiln back in by the end of the year. so that we don't end up with too much money in our checking account. Now, the operating savings account, we're not supposed to have that. We had too much money. When I came on as president, we only had a checking account and we were horribly overexposed. You want me to keep going?
Yeah, I just don't go into.
Okay, and so we had to open these different accounts. And so we were allowed to drop the $22,000 into the operating savings account, and that's for operational things. And then we just had to drop another $5,000 out of the checking account because we far exceeded what was in the checking account. That's why it jumped from $22,000 to $27,000. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. The club is not going broke. It is not going broke. Your annual dues are sufficient to cover social and things like that, and to move money across whatever that surplus is into equipment reserves. Questions?
Thank you, Barbara.
That's the way I do it.
Okay, next up, we're going to talk about committee reports. Membership, Lori, do you have anything?
As of this morning, we have 309 members. And we had to start after February 28th was the membership renewal again, and it would be a $5 late fee after that date. We have a new member class coming up on, I believe it's March 15th, and there's 5 new members. And for monitors, we're looking for monitors that are interested in being a lead monitor. And if you could let us know, put your name in my folder, and we'll have a class. And if anyone would like to be a fill-in monitor, if someone gets sick, kind of a last-minute thing, I'd love to know that too. You could put that in there, and I can have a list. Thank you.
Thanks, Lori. I neglected to mention that we have a new VP, first VP and second VP. First VP is Debbie Wentz, and second VP is Lori Bunn. And unfortunately, our sweet Glora had to resign for personal reasons, but hopefully she'll be back in the club soon. As we continue on, Arlie, did you have anything for education?
Mostly, everything's going fine with education. We're a little bit lax at the moment because of not knowing what's going to happen with Sun City West and their
We've got
what they're doing. Yeah, I know. Okay, so we have an opening in the Raku firing that's coming up at the end of the month because someone dropped out. So if anybody wants to sign up, it's in the book. And then we have, on May 19th, we have an outside teacher come in, and Susan Larson. So that's really something exciting to look forward to. Other than that, we're pretty cool.
Very good.
Okay.
Thank you. Just
Thanks,
one
Arlie.
little thing, if you don't mind. I did see that there might be 2 openings in March if anybody's looking to do a monitor that needs to fill their time.
Thank you. Okay, Deb, social.
Our spring fling cocktail party was very successful, at least according to those people that attended, and if you guys didn't, you missed out. The potato bar was a huge hit, especially with the gluten-free people. Trish Mormon and her husband won the prizes for the best bonnet and bow tie. Runners-up were Karen O'Connor and Linda Jones. Our next big event is the spring picnic. Sharkos will be catering, and the social committee has some fun games planned. Do you guys remember marshmallow golf? And cornhole, and I have heard a little bit of dissension on the cornhole things. There's people that I think have Ohio State, and then another college, so we could have some good competition going there. And our social team has some sort of a thing with horse races. I'm not quite sure how that's gonna go, but we're gonna do some horse races. Details and signups will be up next week. The cost will be free for members and $16 for guests. It's a box lunch, and you'll have a choice of probably about 5 different items. And it's a BYOB event. So mark your calendars for April 7th, 4 p.m., and it's here in the Beardsley Park at the Ramadas. Thanks.
Okay, now we're gonna talk about kilns and glazing. This has been a really sensitive subject for everybody, and it's caused a lot of dissension and frustration, not knowing what we can do and what we can't do. As you know, we have been asked by the rec center to follow some new guidelines. We're supposed to be able to find a way to make sure that no one here is doing mass production, or the main reason they're doing clay is just for profit, because it is written in the RRMPs, we are a nonprofit, we do not do business to make money. But putting that aside, we're a social club and we want to have fun. And I know that when we were allowed to do pop parties, that was a point of excitement. Everybody kind of joined in and was able to do what they needed to do. And even if we had an overload of things in the kiln, it was worked out. I've heard so much positive, and I am personally sorry that I missed all of that excitement. So what we're doing here is a couple of things. One is I'm working closely with the recreational center to see what we can do and see how flexible that they can be. They have even made the comment that they're not sure that clay is able to really mass produce, but we don't really have a good definition yet. But we are following their guidelines, but seeing how stringent that is going to be, and hopefully they can give us a little bit of flexibility. First thing I want to mention is I know that a lot of the rumblings that have gone on were about the current kiln policy, and that it was thought that we had come in and we placed this policy and put it out there to make everybody follow these strict guidelines. That is not true. Last fall, the other board was in charge of doing exactly what we're still working on, trying to find a good way to maintain keeping things flowing through, yet not allowing it to be just a for-profit organization. We aren't supposed to do that. So what happened is last fall, a group of people got together and worked diligently on trying to find a good way to make that happen. And that's what came up with their current policy. And unfortunately, I guess a lot of the articles must have gotten missed or what have you. I just scanned back through my mail last night just to see what I had, and I don't think I've kept them all. But I have notes from November 11th, the general membership meeting, where they talked about doing just this, working on the kiln plan. And then another note was sent out on, let's see, later in November, I think it was November 16th, to talk about it again. And then on December 5th at the board meeting, there was extensive discussion about it. It was written up in their minutes, along with the new policy was sent out with those minutes also. So the information was there. I guess I'm gonna have to ask all of you, how can we, because we are once again working on this to try and make it better for everyone. We wanna go back to having fun. We're not the fun police. We don't wanna squelch what everybody wants to do. And Barb Kroll came up with a great suggestion, and that was a suggestion box. So we are starting that today, and I am asking, please, if you have any idea of a way to do this fairly for everybody, then please give us your suggestions. We are more than more than willing to listen to any suggestions, to weigh them out, and see what we can do that will appease everybody. I know there's no way that we can make everybody happy, that's just not likely. But if we can fit for most of you, you people have been here for a lot longer than I have, and I totally respect that and see your beautiful work. But again, we're just please asking that you will give us some comments, and if you have a way that you think is better for us to give you that information, maybe it's hang it up in the club. These are the things we're thinking about, so you can walk by and look at them, whatever it may be. Let us know. What are you more likely to read to find out what's going on with this? So anyway, we'd appreciate your input. We have several people on the Kiln team that have been working, and on the Glaze team that have been working overtime trying to figure this out and be fair to everyone. So thank you, enough on that. And let's see, next note. Okay, I think the next step we're going to do, Deb, if you have anything, first VP reports.
April is our month that we're displaying in the library. Evidently, different clubs display in the library during the year, and our month is April, and we've had a few people make cute little library-themed pieces, but I also need some other pieces from people to put in the displays. So there will be a box in the Dickley Studio marked library project, and you will get your pieces back that you're just loaning them to the library for the month. So please make sure if you do donate something, you put your name and maybe your phone number on it so we know whose piece it is, so you can get it back.
Is there
Miriam?
any size?
Yeah, pretty much any size. I don't think any totems,
No, I didn't think.
you know, but, but I think any size is good.
Okay.
Yeah. So, any other questions on that? It'd be great to see a variety of different things come in, you know, to show, because we have so many talented people here, and it would be great to let the community know what we actually do in our club.
Thank you. Lori, do you have anything?
I think I've covered everything.
Okay, the next item that I'd like to discuss is a security fence. I think many of you know that we have had some pretty good theft problems on the back patio. We've lost grinders, we've now lost a compressor, and recently twice a compressor, and recently a torch. So with that in mind, Margie had mentioned last year about putting up a security fence. She had hoped that perhaps the rec center would pay for it, but in the rec center's mind, we own the fence back there. Way back when the Clay Club took on this building, it was a very small back patio, and the Clay Club paid to have the patio extended and the fence put around. So they see that as Clay Club property, not as rec center. So we are responsible if we want that security fence added on. And what it is it's a really nice metal fence that will go up, I believe, 3 feet higher than what it is, and it curves and it's got points on it, so it's not likely that even if you got over it, you're not going to get back. So, and right, you're kind of stuck, and you know, there's thoughts also that we may be putting a camera back there also. And you know, one of my great concerns is that, you know, a lot of us are in here at night, puttering around, having a good time. And if it's not secure back there, we're not secure in here. You know, we don't want people walking, you know, jumping the fence or walking in the back door if we're in here having a good time at all. But anyway, with those things in mind, this is one of those things that we would like to hear from you. We would like to take a vote today on whether you think it is worthwhile. It's $5,000. The construction team has already said they will start it. If we pass it today, they will start it when they start the remodel that they're doing on the backside here where some of the tents are this summer, so June, July time period. And they're doing a major remodel, it's like 50,000, but they'll put ours on for 5,000 if we go ahead and pass the vote today. So, I'm gonna ask you, if we have a motion
Question.
Discussion.
to,
You gotta go do
Discussion.
You gotta make the motion first to do the discussion.
No, I'm not, it's not about this, my question is, do we have an idea on cameras too? Is there more
we're
information about?
just starting on the camera thing, that is not necessarily a recreational thing,
Yeah,
a rec center thing, because they have nobody to monitor it.
We put a camera system in at the Silver Club,
Oh, wonderful,
Yes.
I'll have that
So-
discussion with you then.
so it's been a godsend, it dropped our potential theft down to like negligible nothing.
Wonderful,
Wow.
And
that's
it doesn't
wonderful.
cost us, we bought it like over at, one of the, I don't know,
Best Buy.
Best Buy or something like that, and we installed it ourselves,
Wonderful.
and it saved us a ton of money.
But
So
we'll
I'm
be,
just saying.
we'll be doing that also, absolutely.
Thanks,
I
Nora.
think we need to have both.
Pardon me?
Do you know what the cost?
Yeah, the
was?
cost was under $300.
Oh, my.
And that
Wonderful.
gave us 1, 2, 3, 4 cameras. And we had to get our monitoring system, you know, it came with the monitoring box, I think we had to get the monitor. You know, and it's split all 4 of them on a screen, we can see it all the time, it can be at the monitor station. And it can be timed up to however long you wanna record it. So if you see a theft in the morning, you can go back and you can review the entire monitoring system to see, and it shows when there was actually movement, so you don't have to watch every
Great.
minute, you go to where there was
It
movement.
just goes right to
So
where.
it was a very, very inexpensive way to deter things.
I will definitely, if you don't mind, meet with you a little bit afterwards,
Okay.
because we would like to do that as well.
Yeah,
You
and I
know,
just,
that
to
is,
me, that helps with if you're gonna have theft, you've got proof, so you can go and convict people, you've got to go through the proper authorities to.
and that's helpful. But the biggest part to me too, you know, and why I believe we need the fence too, is our own safety. And there are lots of times that
Exactly.
people are here, and there's just a few of us here. So,
8 o'clock at night in the
we
winter is
do
dark.
need, yes, exactly, it is dark, yes. And we do need to have the security fence, security cameras as well.
Lynn, may I ask a question? Maureen, are all those cameras inside or are some of them outside?
They're inside, but you can get outside, weatherproof
We
cameras.
need
See,
some
and
outside.
we've had an inside, or an outside, but the problem is that the heat would turn it off. And so if you can have something on the, on the patio, it's just a consideration.
Yeah.
And Linda Connor probably would have some input on that. And if I can just take a moment, this is a little bit out of order, but Linda Connor, what she has done for this club in terms of reports and registration, I mean, she is just doing a phenomenal job, and I'd really like to thank her, and we need to acknowledge, because the time and effort that she's put into it is amazing. And she's so kind in terms of, I don't get it, and she just takes the time to explain and help, and she's been wonderful.
She has been great.
Linda, thank you.
Is she here?
Okay, we got somebody else here.
No, but when she watches
I
it,
don't need
she'll
that.
know.
I can speak loudly. I'd like to make a motion to discuss the fence, so
Right.
we can move on.
Thank you.
Second.
Okay, can, we have a motion, we have a second?
I'll make a motion that we did, to discuss security fencing on the back patio.
She just did.
She just did
Where
it.
were you?
Oh, I'll second you.
Thank you. Okay, all in favor of putting the security fence up on the back patio, please raise your hand.
You guys do discussion.
Okay, now I gotta do,
Then you discuss.
well, we had discussion, but we will have more discussion first.
Are there any examples of that in Sun City?
Yes, if you go to R.H. Johnson between, where on the swimming pool side, between the R.H. Johnson, actual athletic building, and then there's a parking lot where they park their maintenance trucks, and then there's the maintenance building. It's right on the top of the fence. And they'll match the color paint-wise, it doesn't look like a prison yard, but it looks like it's a deterrent for somebody coming over the fence.
I do have a picture of the fence, if you'd like to come up afterwards and take a look at it. It's a pretty hardy fence. Any more discussion, questions?
I make a motion that we proceed with vote.
I second.
Okay, we have a
Wait,
motion and
now
a
we got
second.
another hand.
No,
She's
second.
Oh, I must be tired. I need another cup of coffee.
Who seconded? Me. Oh, Judy. Okay, thank you, Judy.
Okay, let's take a vote. All in favor, please raise your hand.
Motion passed.
Motion passed. Thank you. Well, I think that gives a lot of relief to a lot of people. And that will come out of our operating savings account, of which we have plenty there for it. Okay, I just wanted to mention too, we'll be having a silent auction hopefully in April. There are gonna be several items that are for sale. We have a kiln for sale, some of the old pop-up tents that were used for pot parties, miscellaneous things. We still have to, go by and do a little more inventory of what all we have, but I just wanted to give you heads up, that will all be within the club that we have the sale first. There are a couple of things that will probably have a minimum bid, the kiln being one of them. And if we don't meet the minimum bid, then we will go out to the public, but I know we do have some interest in it, so. Just keeping that in mind, we're hoping to have it together mid-April.
Gretchen has her hand up. Gretchen,
Okay, yeah.
Gretchen, has her hand up.
I'm just curious, earlier you said you were working with the rec center for future activities. Does that mean that there might be future sales?
No, I don't, I didn't
I'm
mean
just
to lead
thinking
down
about
that path.
getting rid of those pop-up tents. These kind
Oh, yeah, no,
It's not something we'll need in the future.
as far as the rec center goes, we are, as a club, not allowed to have any sales.
That's interesting you say that, because there are a couple of my friends who have had one-on-one with Bill Schwinn, and he said there would be sales in the future. So why, you know.
If that's the case, then I will have a discussion with Bill, because
think so.
everything I am getting right now is absolutely no sales with the club's name or being involved with the club. Now, that isn't to say, you know, if you're in your driveway and you're selling your items or somewhere else as a personal artist, that's a different scenario. My understanding is anything to do with clubs is a no. And I get that from
As an
Casey.
individual.
And I get that from
Yes.
Casey. Now, as an individual, that's a different story.
Well, I think he needs to put that out there. I mean, he's wavering. I understand he has a difficult situation right now, but don't tell one person that he's talking to this and then tell another, and tell the group that it's another story.
And it
I
really
think you
makes,
have to go on this, I think you have to follow the road.
it makes it really difficult for us who are trying to carry through their
Yes.
orders and someone else is giving other information on
Yeah.
the side. What I know right now,
Yeah.
today, from the rec center is we as a club are not allowed to sell.
The other thing is that the club needs to make a decision before the storage place renews, June or July 1. So we've got to make an assessment. I know that there's, on the inventory, you look, we have a lot of those older tents that are extremely heavy, and I remember 2 years ago, Tom, you were, I think, were on the committee, maybe John, you were as well, to move those tents to get them to the craft sale thing. And so we're running out of people with sturdy backs that want to do that. So if we were to retain any tents, it would be the newer, lighter ones. But my understanding is that yes, the rec center will possibly host craft fairs, but it won't be to clubs. It'll be to individual sellers. So you as individual sellers, like you individual sellers who are selling on Friday, you've got to come up with your own tents and all that. If you remember a year ago when Donna Maloney was here and Dory and I said, well, why don't we rent the tents? And boy, did that create a
Well,
storm.
at this point, we still have to go with what we are told,
Yeah.
not what might happen in the future. And what I get constantly is
No.
we as a club cannot sell. And we cannot have anything that says we are, you know, the Clay Club is related to your personal sales.
Club
Well, there it's a
sponsored.
sticker on the bottom of your pot. If you got Clay Club on it, ink it out. But that is what we have to follow for now. If that changes, I'll be the first one to tell you it's changed.
Okay, are we paying rent for the storage shed thing?
Yes, we are
Yes.
paying rent, and that
Yes.
is why we are planning to clear that out and get rid of the items that are in there, the few items that we may want to keep, and we may want to keep a couple of the tents. We'll have to figure out how we're gonna store them here on site. Any questions regarding? I just want to mention that we have a few changes in the education and teaching rules through the RRMPs and just some updating. We've been told, rather than throwing in the CR8s at the end of the year, whenever a contract teacher is teaching, we will be requiring a W-9 and a CR8. And I know it asks somewhere down below in the back part of the CR8, it asks about previous experience and things like that for our contractors. And everybody that we bring in, and even if you're in-house as a member, if you've done outside work at some time, or maybe you were an art teacher or whatever, it will behoove you to go ahead and put all that information down. Just so that when we pass it through the rec center, they can see what you've got. We're doing the same thing with the people from outside. They have to do a W-9 and a CR8, and the W-9 is required from the IRS. And I believe the CR8 is as well.
No,
it's not.
CRA
That's
is.
just- the CR8 is just pretty much insurance.
So the recommendation based on, you know Sandra Duncan is a CPA and she's very well versed on IRS. And we have to rabbit trail through the link to the IRS Connect, is that if you're teaching, you're going to teach, we would like you to get with the education committee. An email went out to Michelle last night, to get with the teachers, to have every teacher sign a W-9, and then every teacher fill out the CR8. There is no such thing as a CR8A anymore. The rec center did away with it. So anybody who teaches is an independent contractor.
Okay, and I think that pretty much that has been happening already in the past. It's just that it's gonna be required up front rather than everybody screwing around at the end of the year to make sure that they're all covered. So with that in mind, let's just,
The sooner the better.
you know, the sooner that you can fill them out, the better. It's not really something new, it's just something we wanted to get in front of this year rather than waiting till last minute and scurrying around for it. So, do we have any comments or questions on anything today?
I have a comment. I need to say something about the monitor thing, the station thing. Hello, I just want to make a quick comment. Every week I empty out and do the monitor sales, and I do them on Sundays so I don't cuss as an ordained minister, because they are just a mess. They're just a mess. If you can't total them, you don't. And then I have to go through and total them, because they all have to total. You total out all the numbers, and then the numbers go in. So you just need to slow down a little bit when you're doing them. And if you don't get them, if you don't put your name on them, I don't know who was the monitor, then I have to get with Deb, okay? Only other thing, one more thing, real quick. If you have a check for a class that you want a refund on, don't email me right away. You've got to go back through education, it has to be signed off. If you email me, I have to come in, I have to find education, I have to see when you did it, and all that kind of stuff. At this point, we are not depositing your checks till the class is done. Okay?
Thanks, Barb. Now, is that something we need to cover just in monitoring to let them know?
I'm sorry, is there a question?
Is there a question?
About the monitoring.
Yeah, just making sure that the monitors total out all the columns and have all the information
Just take your
there.
time.
Just take your time. Yeah, if we can maybe just,
Yeah, because we have
put a
been
little
trying
note there.
to do some classes with the new members, and that was part of it too, to make sure you're reconciling with the new monitor on shift for 12 versus the 8 o'clock, so.
And the only thing I would add to that is that there is a book that says monitor tutorial that goes through how to fill out those forms. So if you need a refresher, you can just go in there. It's also on YouTube, but there's a book right in the monitor station.
did everybody hear what Merle said? Okay, thank you. Okay, any other general comments?
I got a question.
Yes.
What is the, what's the rule for firing, I mean, I hear so many rumors, what is the rule now?
We are working on it. Currently today, the same rules are in existence, but I know that there is going to have to be a little bit of flexibility there. So,
So the
With
policy
using
that
some-
was approved by the 2021.
using some flexibility to the last December's rulings or guides for all the kiln, we will be following the same thing, but we have to be flexible. We're gonna try and work with you guys. And here's one thing I would like to ask. Our kiln people, actually, our education, everybody on committees, you know, keep in mind, these are volunteers. These are people that are in here working, and especially the kiln people, any of you who have worked in the kiln team know how hard work that is. Please remember that they're volunteers, that they're here just out of the goodness of their heart to help us keep this club going. So, I guess that's enough said. Just a little kindness to those people. I know they're working hard. It is not their fault that the rec center has changed rules, that we have to have new guidelines, and we're working really hard on trying how to follow the guidelines and be able to still have a club that we're allowed to have a little bit of joy and fun and not suffocated by a bunch of rules. Anything else?
I guess my question would just be, why is the rec center doing all of this stuff? I know the CR7, the whole stuff, but it's like they keep nitpicking at everything, and I'm like, aren't we paying them? And I just is frustrating to me. And I wanna know why and how
You're not alone in the frustration.
I mean,
I'll tell you, you're not alone. Everybody is feeling the frustration. And I believe it began when they had to close down the stores, the village store. And, you know, there were tax issues and, well, when they did, I don't know the intimate details inside what went on. So I don't want to make accusations, but when they did that, it created quite a wave effect. And I think they're still trying to figure out where they're scrambling and what they really have to do. And I feel a lot of it is probably around IRS guidelines, and they want to make sure we're following guidelines so that there's not a problem with the IRS.
Okay.
Hopefully they'll get it figured out concrete soon. I think they're getting close from what I'm hearing, but we will continue to work with them and see what we can do to try and make it a little better for all of us. Did you have another question? No?
No, I do, but I won't get us going on that.
Yeah, I wish I could answer for them, I really can't. I really can't. I do know they are working on it. Absolutely.
I guess my only thing is I know that Sun City and Sun City Grand don't seem to be having this problem.
Sun City and Sun City Grand are not 501c7s.
So why don't we change to be,
I can have about an hour conversation with you about that, about the different options and about why we can't do anything right now.
okay,
But let's do that sideline outside of the meeting.
I just wanted to say I'm new, and one of the things I did youth ministry is just because it's different doesn't mean it's bad. It's just different. And sometimes you have to give it time to let things play out and figure out where it's going. And then if at that time you don't like how it's going, then you have the option of staying or leaving or whatever. And that's harsh, but just because it's different doesn't mean that it's bad. It's just different for a while.
Thank you for that, yes.
That's good, Deb.
And hopefully we're getting to that point where we can figure out what they're really gonna be solid about doing and figure out what we can do from there. Okay, any other comments? All right, well, I'd like, oh, we have a drawing, I'm sorry.
How could you forget the free
Everybody who
stickers?
signed in gets a chance.
We bribe you for coming.
Okay, who's gonna love me? Open. Well, we could go this way or this way, but it is number 12. Oh, no? Sorry, okay. It was you? Oh. I was trying to make points. No. 55. Number 55, come on down. Oh, we only have 5. Okay, 43. 24 would be Tim.
This is rigged.
Tim?
Tim? Somebody named Tim who? Looks like,
It's not Jim.
is there a Jim? I don't see it. Last name? I can't. What's the last name?
Is it Tom?
Oh, boy.
Is it Tom?
Is it Waller?
Is there a
Do you
doctor
write
here?
funny?
It looks like,
I don't do anything fun.
That's not true, remember Christmas?
I bet it's
Tom.
Let me verify this. I think it's Tom.
Tim, Jim.
We might need to have Tim.
No, I wanna know what the hell this drawing's for, I don't want to. No. There's me right there, and it ain't funny.
All right, let's draw another one. You can't write legibly, you lose your stick. I know those guys. I know John, I know Mike, and I know their names on here. Wow, okay. Okay, the mystery 24, okay, one more. Cross your fingers. Okay, go ahead. Okay. 36. Joanne Morris, come on down.
I'm here,
You are here, Miss Agave herself. You're so welcome, honey. Congratulations.
Joanne, you need your picture taken.
Nope, we're good.
okay, I have, one other item. Where's Barb? I just wanted to, again, thank Barb Crow for the suggestion and getting it all going. So we have a little something for her.
Nice.
That's right. Thank you, Barb. Appreciate your input. Okay, if we don't have any other comments, then meeting adjourned. Make a motion.
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Okay, in the audience. All right.